Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the reading sprints. Um, Angela will come in a little bit later. As usual, it is a little bit early for her to actually start with work. So we will see who comes in, but hopefully, we can have some sprint starting. In terms of what we'll be reading, so later on I will choose a special kind of book. But right now I just finished a book actually today. So I'm actually starting a new book, which is Drop of Corruption, which is an arc that is coming out at the beginning of April. So, you know. I am happy to be back in the world because it's a sequel to a book I read before, which was The Tainted Cup, and I'm really, really happy to get into it. So I am scrambling to get. Hi, Maria. Thank you for microphone. Yes, I have this brand new microphone, so hopefully the sound is a little bit better. I think also today, at least right now, the lighting is not too bad, so we'll work with that. And I'm just setting up some sprints so Angela can join us. So we'll start with kind of, quick kind of sprints. I'll see how to do this. So present as usual. I never know how to do this because Angela usually does it. So we'll see. There we go. There it is. Oh, yeah, I forgot that I do this and then it's stuck and some weird thing. Okay, cool. So let me just drop this there. Okay, we're good. Okay, so we will jump into a kind of short sprints, 25 minutes ish, and then Angela should be there. So it's we can talk about what book that she will be reading and all the good stuff, and how our week has been, and as usual. So I'll stop rambling. We'll start a sprint and see you in 25 minutes. Sorry for the jump scare, maybe, but I actually didn't get any sounds either, so
Oh, yes. I forgot that your sound doesn't meow at us.
I know. I know.
All right. Happy Tuesday. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I got a microphone, so we were actually
Ooh,
testing it out yesterday with Angela really quickly.
yes.
Just check that everything was
Moving up
working.
in the world.
Yes. Well, it's mostly that I wanted to not broadcast the whole sound, for since I'm not at my own place and I'm living back with my dad for a while.
Mhm.
So, I wanted to use my headphones, but then the microphone was not really loud. So it was not super well for that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I admit I like the fluffiness of this thing.
It is cute.
How are you?
I'm good. Today was an interesting day. So there have been some meetings in the library
Mm-hmm.
over the last few days, which is really annoying because that's where I teach. so
Mm-hmm.
we've been kind of kicked out and relegated to the auditorium, which is annoying.
What?
Again,
Yeah.
annoying. I'm mad about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Atlas, what are you doing? Atlas is digging at something somewhere. I can't tell where
Oh.
he is or what he's doing or why. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
under my chair. Yes, he is under my chair. Hi, honey. So, they kicked us out of the library. No classes in there yesterday or today, and also the book fair got delivered today. So the book fair is starting
Oh.
next Tuesday, but all of the materials just got there. So like
Uh-huh.
my brain is mush. Like everything's been different, everything's been weird. It does mean that like this week I'm hardly teaching at all. I'm basically just hyping up kids about the book fair and being like, here are all of the fun
Nice.
books you can get. Like, let's make
Uh-huh.
this a success. And it's very
Cool.
exciting. We love the excitement. So that's good. But
Yeah.
yeah, I my brain feels mushy. I feel like I don't have very much free power.
Uh-huh.
Also, I'm eating apple slices. So
Oh, yum.
yum.
Yeah, it's like 10:30 p.m. for me, so it's not snack time, but I feel really accomplished today though because I did finish finally the series that, you did give me a kick in the butt also to continue and finish it. So I did actually
I
finish the
did.
Chorus of Dragon series.
And did you love it?
Yes, all the way through the end. There's like just one slight thing, right? It's one of those epic fantasy series that has so many point of views, right? Especially by the end of the fifth book, you've
Well,
had like
definitely tell everyone what book it is, just to make sure that we're all on the
yeah, so this is the Discord of Gods by Jen Land. So the first book of this series is The Ruin of Kings. And even from the first Ruin of Kings, there's like at least like there's two big kind of POVs that were flip-flopping around with the same boy, Kieran. I think he starts off maybe around 12 or 14 years old, maybe something like this. And we
Okay.
flip flop between him at this age and him like
One
3 years later or something. But he's also basically telling his story to like this jailer because he's in prison, right? Later on. And so he says, oh, my story starts like 2 years before or something. And then the jailer stops the Kieran and says, no. And it's like earlier, right? And then in the second book, I mean, it's like basically the author has like a lot of footnotes, right? Because she essentially writes those as like accounts that are retold by someone, right? That took the memories and retold them, and so they put footnotes because they say, "Oh, this is wrong" or something. So even from like the first book, you have footnotes from this like person Fervishar that you don't really know too much, but you start to know him from there. And then from the second book, of course, you start to get his point of view so a little bit because he starts to be in the story a little bit and you
Okay.
get other points of views. So by the end of like the fifth book, there's like 12 or so like big important people at least or something. And I'm happy with most of them and their ending and like how they ended up, and it's fine if, like the world doesn't end in like a great place for sure, because there's this big battle, there's consequences, but you can see like what they accomplished, like where they're going through, what they're going to do later. That's fine, right? But there's this one character that I'm like, what happened to them? Wait, like it's like I know they're like this mysterious character, but we don't even know if they actually got okay, if they were not dead or not. We don't know. And since they have the ability to like basically take any kind of shape to another human being, we don't know, you know? So it's kind of weird. Maybe I missed something actually in there, and I was like a
I would
little
maybe like
hint
watch some
somewhere.
reviews or something and see if there is
Yeah,
something that maybe you
yeah.
missed. Just because it
But
seems like that author is so meticulous, like it seems strange
yes,
that he would just like drop a
I
character like
know.
that.
I
Yeah.
know. I know. She is very meticulous, and I think that's the other point that I love about the series, not only like how intricate it is, but like how you have this glossary, and like you have all the list of like dragons, and you like they have this whole family tree. And I did like in this final book that you had this whole family tree that she brought back, this new one, now that we know so many different things, because in the first one there's one, but like this final one is also different. And I do appreciate it because it's very complicated. Of course, like people can basically be soul swapped. So like, there's like a stone. I won't get into it because like if you
Mhm.
want to get
Yeah,
into the series or whatever. But like you can like basically switch bodies. You can like be reborn in some other things. You can become a god. You can like, you know,
sure.
and there's these dragons that are, they can be in dragon form, but they can also not be in dragon form. Like I want to also tell there's all of these things have like there is an explanation for them, and it's not like, but it's really one of those books also where you have to roll through it. So certainly like the first book I was like, where the heck is this going? But as I started to read, I was like, oh, I just have to trust the author. But the first book, it was really hard to. But as I continued the series, I was like, yeah, I'm trusting that, the author is just going to pull all those threads and they're going to end up somewhere. Right.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad that you ended up enjoying it. That's awesome. What about your current book? What do you think?
So I went back to this arc that I've had like for like a month or so. So it's a sequel to a book that I really really loved. I think it was last year, The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, which is one of these fantasy mystery kind of blends. And I really loved it, and I was so happy that I was accepted for an arc. I have a terrible, like average rating for, you know I'm not really good at actually giving, updates in the books that I get and everything. So my NetGalley arc, approval rating is not great, but I'm working on it at least. And I did start. I read like maybe 2 chapters so far, but I'm happy again. It's a locked room mystery, so I do get
Oh,
points
that's
for
fun.
that. It's fun. And a locked room
Yeah.
mystery in like a fantasy kind of setting. Also, it's like a fantasy sci-fi blend, right? It's more sci-fi than fantasy, but it does have a sort of magical kind of feel in the way it's written, even if it's sci-fi. People have essentially enhancements, like the guy you're following is this assistant to essentially an inspector, and he basically is enhanced. Can't recall anything from memory. Not
Hmm.
only does he have an eidetic memory, but he can basically, if he smells something, he can recall whatever thing perfectly and he will see it and just be able to basically flow through the space that he saw and recall anything at that point for however long the person wants to, ask any details, right? Um, so anyway, I'm having fun with that, but I thought that I would also like probably pull out one of the stars that I have so that I know, since
Ooh.
I finished the book that I was supposed to read.
Well,
And
we're getting to the
sometimes
point where it's been a while since I wrote them for you, so I don't
yes.
entirely remember everything that's in there, which makes it more interesting for me.
Yes. Also, I only have 7 left, so, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Um, but I figured that it was good to actually pull it out because most of my books are not with me, so, I need to request it probably from the library, so, you know.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
What are you reading?
So I'm reading The Blood Mirror. It's the fourth book in the Lightbringer series. I am very proud of myself that I have gotten this far because
Mhm.
these are like pretty big, pretty intense, epic fantasy books. And I read the first one 3 years ago and then
Wow.
never kept going. So it is impressive that I picked it back up. I reread the first one, and now I've officially finished book three. So I just have two books left, and I just started The Blood Mirror.
Nice.
I actually, this is the first one where, at least it's the first one where in the audiobook it's done this. It had like a little summary of the first three books in the audiobook, which
Ooh.
I don't need right now because I've like
Mhm.
read them all back to back. But I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Like, I wish that
Yeah.
all of my books did
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
But I feel like it
I
doesn't
know
actually
that
happen that often.
Yeah, I know that actually also the series I finished, right, A Curse of Glass, did this. I think they did
Mhm,
this for book 4 and book 5 at least. I don't
mhm.
really think they did this for book 2 or even for book 3. But I do actually understand because like in book 1 like some things happen but it's more setup. Book 2 is also a little bit of a setup in some ways and book 3 is like really where everything of the plot starts. So I do understand, when you have such a series like this and maybe not in the beginning and then you do it. I'm
Sure.
always amazed how they manage though to make like a summary that is actually palatable in like 3 pages or so about like a 1,000-page kind of
They
thing, right?
definitely like cut out a lot of things, but I do think that
Yeah.
the summaries were pretty good. Honestly, what I think they should do is I think every author's website should have
Mm.
a give me all the spoilers I want the summary button,
Mhm.
where you like click there, and then maybe there's a little pop-up box that goes, "Are you sure you've already read this book and you just want a review because you're going into the next
True.
book?" And then you can click it and be like, "Yes, I am sure. Please spoil me."
Mhm.
And then it will give you the information. I think every
Mm.
epic fantasy author, honestly, anyone who's writing a series where it matters what happened in the previous
Mhm.
books, I
Mhm.
think that there should be something like that on every author's website. But perhaps that's a hot take. I think more
Yeah,
series would get finished. I think more people would read later books in series if that existed.
I agree, but also in some ways there would be some people who would read the summaries, the spoilers, and that's
Then they weren't going
it.
to read the book anyway.
But
Whatever.
I mean, I understand because if it's like a very famous series anyway, they're likely to get like a website or wiki page or something and have those anyway. So and people to do that, but
But not every series is really
I
famous.
know, I know, no, no, I know. So that's why I'm saying like maybe that's not such a big thing to have it anyway.
Yeah.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
So Maria's reading Emberblade by Chris Wooding.
Is
Yeah,
that the book
I
that's like really Lord of the Rings influence?
yeah, it looks really, the cover has this very classic fantasy with like the mountains in the background. I think there's a huge waterfall maybe. Might
Okay.
be DNFing it, gets it
Oh
off my
no.
physical TBR though. Oh, I'd be happy to I'd be not happy, not that's the right word, but I'd be intrigued to know why you want to DNF it. What doesn't work for you? Is it because it's like the writing or like the plot is not too fast, moving fast enough, or like what doesn't work for you? Because
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably especially important for Clementine because you and Maria's tastes line up pretty
yes.
well. I knew that that was not going to be a book for me. I have decided not to pick it up because I know that it's not going to be a book for me. But I did put it on a list for one of my friends to read because I think it will
Mm,
be a book for him.
mhm.
Um, yeah, yeah,
I I mean, our tastes are very similar with Maria, but we actually I think we discovered like the actual type of books we might not be exactly the same taste in. And I think it's more like cozy, like the cozy kind of romance, fantasy kind of feel.
Oh,
We might
interesting. So,
yeah.
which one of you tends to like more things?
I think I like more of the cozy things
Mm,
than she does. But also maybe it's because she's been struggling this year a little bit with her reads and like, also a little bit. But like recently we just buddy read with a bunch of other friends Wooing the Witch Queen by Stephanie Burgess, which just came out, and it was really a lot of fun for me. But she just, like was saying that for her, like she felt the plot was not moving forward or anything. I think I might be maybe a little bit more character driven than she is for that part, probably. Because for
That
me,
makes
it
sense.
didn't mind that much. But yeah, she's the cozy wild card.
Mhm. And
Which,
you see her previous comment, I'm actually not having a bad time, but I think my investment might stay around
mm,
3 stars for the whole thing. For 300 pages and the characters feel a bit distant. I think that's
oh
totally
yeah,
fair. At
yeah,
the enough to view, I can feel this is going to be a three
yep,
star book
yeah,
soon.
yeah. And I think that's why also I'm very hesitant to pick those very classic, fantasy feels.
Mhm.
I'm saying classic fantasy not in the, old or, new, but more like
Mhm.
the style of writing. Cause like for me, it feels very distant for characters and I'm very character driven. So if I feel like I'm a million miles away and it's more like a history book of whatever happened, I'm like, yeah, okay, fine.
Right.
Unless there's something really, really special about the magic or something that still keeps me going, I'm like, okay, no. And
I'm
even
fine with
then,
something that feels a little bit more classic or derivative,
yeah.
as long as it's done well and I like feel, as long as there's like a momentum. My
Hmm.
problem with these like typical like classic fantasy feeling books is that usually they're pretty drawn out and like
Yeah.
not very not very pacey,
Mm. Hmm.
or really like even intriguing, like derivative,
Hmm.
I think is what I would say. And yeah, so Maria, what I heard personally about the Ember Blade was that not only was it very derivative of Lord of the Rings, but the pacing was kind of similar, where it was like a little
Yeah.
bit more um drawn out.
I
But
actually also heard that it was perfect for like it was really for fans of Lord of the Rings and it was
yeah,
very classic fantasy feels.
yeah.
And from the cover I also got that. So I was like, yeah, no. Since I hated the Lord of the Rings, I was like, no.
I also did not enjoy. So I recommended this book to Matt, who
Mhm.
has like loves Lord of the Rings,
Mhm.
loves classics.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
right now he's reading This Isn't Fantasy, but he just finished the Brothers Karamazov or whatever, that old like
Um
Dostoevsky, the
yeah.
Conqueror.
Mhm.
So it's he's that kind of reader, and I think that the Ember Blade would
Yeah.
be a little bit of a break for him. He would have like a
Yeah.
really nice
No, no, no.
time.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. To be okay, to be fair, for people who don't come at me or anything about like hating, Lord of the Rings, it's more I hated it reading as a reading experience because like the writing style really didn't work for me. It was really
Mhm.
atrocious for me because like I don't visualize anything and the descriptions were so long
No,
that
I
I
think The
I
Lord
just
of the Rings is
couldn't.
honestly pretty tedious.
Mhm.
I struggled a lot. I struggled to also like kind of pay attention. Like I
Yeah.
really I just nothing was sinking into my brain because I was like really trying to read it, but it was just like I was just looking at words on a page. And it's not because I'm like incapable of reading difficult things. My reading comprehension is
Yeah.
just fine. It was
Mhm.
just it wasn't
You
meshing for
didn't
me.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me too. I just realized I did push myself through like 2 books and a half nearly or something. I was in the 3rd book, but I was still like very struggling. And I think for me it hinged
I
on that.
quit in the middle of the third book. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I was like not in the middle, probably like a third of it because I was like 150 pages of it,
I
I
mean, I'd call
remember.
that in the middle.
And we were still in this swamp and I was like, nope, yet another description of the swamp. I don't care. It was
If
it
a book
was
is
like,
making
no.
you that mad, it's not worth it.
Uh-huh. I actually like a slower traveling plot, but I need to love the character interactions. That's interesting. Sometimes traveling for me, if it's traveling for traveling, those like classic fantasy, I'm like, ugh, and never traveling. But it's mostly like if I don't enjoy my time with the rest, right? Then I'm very picky about the traveling and I'm like there's too much of it. But if I'm having fun, it's fine, right? So it's a weird thing for
So
me.
I'm about to give some examples that Clementine will not agree with. I am fine with some travel. Like, I do not have a problem with traveling plots. I feel like lots of people have a problem with traveling plots, and
Yeah.
I don't. One of my favorite books from when I was younger is Graceling, which most of it
Mm.
is traveling, and
Mhm.
I love it. I think it's great. I think there's an essence of like survivalism that comes
Yeah.
into a lot of these traveling plots
Yeah.
where you're like,
Yeah, yeah.
running away from something, or you're like, making do
Definitely.
in the wild. And I think that's really interesting. Like, I love that sort of thing. At least young me really loved that kind of reading. But
Yeah.
what the problem that I have with, like, I think there's, for me, a difference between like a YA fantasy traveling and like surviving story, and then
Sure.
like an adult like epic fantasy traveling and be it like, and also being
Mm.
political somehow story, right? Like, we're doing all of this traveling, and also we like care about the politics lots, and like all of these big things are happening in the world, but we're just walking in,
Yeah.
we're just walking in a line as all of these crazy things are happening. And there's, I mean, there's something real about that, but also something
Now you're
incredibly
like,
boring about it.
so we're going on a
Yeah.
quest, but stop. Exposition time.
Yep. Yep.
A
So
little
I
bit,
felt that with
you
Lord
know.
of the Rings, but I think my
Mhm.
most distinctive example of that was the Wheel of Time. I really had a hard
Mhm.
time, especially with the first
Me too.
book of the Wheel of
Mhm.
Time, and that's essentially a travel book where they're
Yep.
like, I had a real, I had a
Yeah.
tough
Yeah.
time. Maria also enjoyed Graceling, so go you, Maria. I agree with your
So,
YA book taste.
yeah, yeah. So to be fair, I did read it recently and I didn't have a great time with it. It was very middle of the road and I will not continue. But I do
I
have
love
to
it so much.
admit, I I feel really sad about that one because it's totally one of those ones where I can see teenage younger me loving the series Graceling and going through it and having so much fun with it.
Mhm.
But I was like, yeah, it was very much, like classic, YA fantasy for me. And I read it and I was like, meh, you know.
Maria, I have
um,
not, but I just put it on my TBR. It's one of those ones that like floated kind of on the periphery, but I've never actually known what it's about. But if you think that I would like it, I'm happy to give it a shot. I trust you, Maria.
I also have not read it. Okay, shall we stop
Oh, we should probably
talking?
actually sprint. Yeah, that would
And
be
I will
fun. Oh, yes.
first
Pick a star
pick a
first.
book.
Yay. I'm excited.
Okay.
Okay. The suspense. The
Okay.
suspense.
Okay, let me just put my microphone here,
That's
probably. That's
probably smart.
better. And because I'm struggling with this thing, so because
I'm
I
sorry.
no, no,
Probably
it's
my
not
fault.
my no, it's not you. It's because I cut my nails recently.
Ah, that'll do it.
Hey, that was I was relying. Yay! I did it.
Nice.
Oh, that's a small one. Oh, yeah, I won't be able to read this for a while because this is middle game, which has probably like a 12-week wait or something from the
We'll
from
see.
the
Do
library.
you want to know which list that was from? Do you care?
I assume it's my own TBR, but maybe not.
Yeah, I think it was your physical TBR
Mhm.
that I had picked that one from.
Because I do have it, but in the US.
Yeah.
Ooh. So Maria says about Girl of Fire and Storm that if you're open way, it's one of my favorites. It's refreshing and unique.
There you go.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I saw recent but I was also looking the last time I was looking to try and read it, I still had access to it physically, so I was looking at the audio, and the audio did indeed have a long wait,
Middle
but
game.
if I'm looking at oh, the audio is available right now
Hey.
and the Kindle. So I could even like do a little bit of immersive reading if I wanted.
Absolutely.
Uh, well, I guess
So do
I
you think
have
you're
to.
going to pick it up, or are you going to stick with A Drop of Corruption for a little bit?
Well, I'll read a little bit of it because I'm doing a buddy read with a friend who also has an arc. Um, so at least I finish a chapter or something, but I will start that one. Yeah.
I'm interested in what you'll think of Middle Game. If you're liking it, that's actually one that I need to go back and reread.
Mm,
So if you end up liking it, I might go back, reread Middle Game, and then I do want to continue on and read Seasonal Fears. And then I think the
sure.
third one is coming out this year. So I need that's
Mm-hmm.
another series I just need like a reason to blast through.
Mm.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't know because like I've heard actually a lot of people who did like Middle Game, but where they were also like very much. I don't really
I know, and I'm
understand
gonna read it
why.
anyway.
I was fully fine with it being like a standalone and not continuing and all that. But yeah.
I am loyal, and I will continue. Very rarely is there a series that I stop reading because I like it because I'm just happy, because I'm content. Like stopping
Mm-hmm.
reading and being like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what? I don't need any more. I'm fine. I'm either like I actively dislike this and I'm not going to
Okay.
read more, or I would like
Mm-hmm.
to read more, please. Thank you. I will keep going. I don't tend to hit that middle of the road like contentment place very often. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Anyway, we should probably actually sprint. Do you want me to put it up so that it meows at us, or do you just want to alert us when yours
Yes.
meows?
Yes,
Okay,
please,
cool, cool.
because I feel
Do you have
like
any color recommendations for this time around, Clementine? Any
no
requests?
surprises.
Okay. Okay. I'll do something random. Oh, that's kind of dreary. We don't want dreary. That's too much.
Oh
Never
no,
mind. I'm not doing anything
especially with
random.
this. We're in spring now. We should not be dreary, right?
Oh, this one's kind of fun. This is kind of an in between situation. 45.
Mm. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Neato. Present. Yeah, StreamYard has been changing just a little, not significantly, but just a little bit of their layout
Hmm.
stuff. So
Yes, yes, they did.
screen, this one, share. Okay. Yep, there we go. Look at that. See, just like a little bit darker pink than we're
Hmm.
used to, with a little bit of like a gray purple. Thought
Okay.
it was fun.
Yep.
Alrighty. Good luck. Happy reading. See you back here in 45 minutes. Hello, hello. So, how was the reading? Oh, yeah, take your time. Atlas, chill out. My love, my love. Relax. You good?
I was not ready, but yes. I
Good.
saw I saw the time a few minutes and I was like, yeah, I have a few minutes. And then I got into a chapter that was like, like more like because I was setting up middle game and then it was more in the meat of it and I was like into it. So, sorry. So
So,
it
you're
is going
liking it?
well. I think the main problem that I have right now is in the writing. The fact that you have those like little snippets of this like fairy tale, book in there, is throwing me off a little bit. And especially like for the first few chapters, it was really a lot. So I was like, huh? If it's like really that much, maybe it's okay. But like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see more. Yeah, definitely. Because I'm just meeting Roger and Dodger right now, so yeah.
Yep, right at the beginning. So I actually ended up I actually ended up spending most of my time posting the D&D one shots for our
Mm,
book club for April. So I did not get as much reading done as I would have otherwise, but I was productive. And that is the important thing.
yes, it
So
is. I
I'm at
did.
five. Oh, what was that?
No, no, go ahead.
Oh, I'm at 5% of the blood mirror. Things are certainly happening. The last book ended not. I still think there's this one twist in the middle of the first book that is so good. It's so good. And there have been a couple of twists that have been like
Hmm.
surprising throughout the series. But I think that I will just like never recapture the feeling of that twist in the middle of the first book. Unless
Mm,
I like something really impressive happens here at the end, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm enjoying it,
I
but it
think,
really feels as though the ball is
yeah.
rolling and we're just like
Mm-hmm,
keeping going. We're just keeping it going. I might switch to a different book for our next round of sprints because I think I need something a little bit less thinky right now.
mm-hmm,
But yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense. I can understand like that there's like a big plot twist that you can't ever recapture, right? There's a few series like that, right? One of them, which I actually didn't like, but like the what is it? The Enki Jemisin one, the Broken Earth
If
trilogy,
it's
right? Because everyone says like the first book is amazing, the reveal and all those things because of the way it's written. And I think I didn't like it because essentially for me, I was like, is this really a reveal? So obviously I was not as wowed as everybody else. So, but I think everybody agrees that like the first book is amazing because of that. And then it is good, but it's not like, we're continuing in there. Um, So sometimes, also like sometimes it doesn't matter to me too much because like the series I just finished, A Curse of Dragons, obviously has 5 books. So there's like some of them have like this really important thing. And I do remember in book 3, there's so many things happening that I was like really not expecting. And I was like, wow, so much surprise. And after that, like it was not at that level anymore. But I was also having a lot of fun still, right? So I
Mhm.
think, in some it it works in others.
Yeah.
So Maria
There was a
worked on
reveal at the
payroll.
end of the third book that I'm remembering now that was surprising, but
Mm,
not in like a, it just wasn't the same. Like there are some reveals that just totally
yeah.
change how you looked at any of the books at all, right?
Yeah. No, no. I
Um,
know.
and then there are
I know.
some reveals that are just like, oh, that's interesting. Like I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that's a key piece of information. And that does
Hmm.
recontextualize some of what I'm thinking about. But those
Yeah,
like it's two different types.
I can also remember one other series that I was reading. The first book of it is The Queen of a Tearling, right? I think it's like a
I have that
YA
one on my
new
shelf from you.
adult. Oh, yes. Yes. Um, wait. No, you don't.
I think I do. Oh no, I have the
No.
Queen of Innis Lear. There are
Yeah.
too many books that are the queen of insert thing
Yeah,
here.
because like I know I unhauled some books, but I know this trilogy I kept because like it really threw me off. Essentially in the middle of the second book there's this huge twist and I was not expecting it because I had not read um that kind of twist before really as I was getting back into reading, right, when I read it. And the ending of this trilogy is also very contentious. A lot of people hate it so much.
Mm,
And in some ways, when I did read it, I was like, oh no, the author did that. And I was mad. But like, I kind of sat on it and I fought about it for literal weeks, probably. And after weeks, I was like, actually, I actually know I see what the author was doing. I kind of like it in some ways, and I can, like I can, I can, like pat on the back. And I think it's one of those that I still remember a lot of the big things, but I do want to revisit one day. The author also wrote a prequel novel about like the villain of a story or something, right? And I do want to read it. I do have it on my TBR, but I still haven't read it. But I think I do want to reread the whole thing maybe one day and do sort of a thing because like it's one of those that's also like it's a classic fantasy kind of feel, but it's like from the start, it's like a little bit on its head, and as you continue, it's getting like all the kind of tropes that you had before. It's like deconstructing them essentially,
mhm.
in some ways. So yeah, it also helps that the all the powerful characters in this book are mostly women in there. So it's kind of fun for that. But yeah. Yep. Yep, yep, yep.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't have many other thoughts. I think
Middle game
unfortunately
is fun, but it keeps you in like limbo for a while. Like I felt kind of unsteady in middle game for a long time. So I am
mhm.
not surprised that like maybe we don't have a ton to say yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't also like I think it's one of those books that I intentionally also kept myself in the dark. I knew a few things about it, but I also think it's a book that I personally wouldn't want to know too much, so I don't want to tell too much to others, if they don't know and they want to get into it one day. Um, I do have to say that the writing style I actually vibe a lot better than
Every
the
heart a
set of
doorway.
novellas, yes, exactly, that I read. So I'm happy with that so far. But also like I think it might have been it's on me, right, for starting this when just finished one of my favorite series ever, right? Because my mind is still thinking about the series, right? But I have to push myself, and I'm happy that we have these sprints today because otherwise I would have probably not read anything for 3 days, which is totally
Yeah.
fine, right? But like, you know, it's a way
No,
to
and I think
continue
it's
with
fine to
it.
take a break or even pick up like a rom com or something
Yeah,
fun or
yeah,
something
yeah,
not super serious.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually don't feel too much in a rom-com kind of mood, um, right now, or silly, goofy, because like I was reading like a couple of like easier reads before I got into this, epic fantasy that I finished.
A couple what?
Um, I was reading like because I read this cozy fantasy romance before, right? Discord of Gods before that. And I was also reading before that even like two fantasy romance books that are very slow paced. It's in the Blood Grace series. So these are really also I have them on audio, so and they're really slow paced, so I can easily, listen to that and like do some crochet or other things, and it's really like really also like it was like book what did I read? Book 5 and 6 in the series. So like at this point I know most of the world, it's not um it's it's not the brain power required is like really slow. So I was happy to get back into like a very complicated one, but now I'm like having this like mental breakdown that I finished it. Right.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's okay.
Uh, I just got an email from, or not an email, a text from some of our friends like confirming that they were able to get into the one shots in April just
Oh,
fine, and that
uh-huh.
we're good to go. I'll have a buddy on both times. So, oh,
Nice.
thank goodness. Stressful, but well, done.
Yeah.
Complete. Do we want to jump back in and do some more reading?
Yep.
Awesome. How
Yep.
long do you want it to be? The 45 again?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Um, Maybe one day we could also just I haven't I haven't had anything ready to do that, but we could like make a wheel to decide for us. Since we're really always like, I don't know, how much time do you want to read?
Well,
Like,
so here's
but
the problem. So Clementine, I am totally open to that
yeah,
completely. That's awesome. I do that in my everyday life. Have I told you this? My system for doing tasks in my everyday life.
no,
So there are now we get to just take a little John over to Angela, the way that Angela manages her time. So there are 6 things that I think deserve like daily time, either because I enjoy them or they're good for me, or kind of a combination. So these are the 6 things. 1, work, like district work, like my job. 2, reading. 3, crafting. 4, making food slash eating. I just realized I had an extra hand up. 5 um, is tidying or like cleaning. And then 6 is Dungeons and Dragons preparation because that's how much of my life it takes. So those are the 6 things that I devote my free time to. When I have some extra time in my day, I go, oh, I'm going to do one of these 6 things. So what I do is, and this is the part that you're not going to jive with. I roll 2 die, and the first die tells me which of the 6 things I'm going to do, and then the second die tells me for how long. It's great. Now I multiply the number on the die by 5 minutes. So I do that because if I get tidy for 20 minutes, I can do that. That's very
uh-huh.
easy for me. If I get cook for 30 minutes, awesome. I can find something to do. If I get read for 5 minutes, can
Mhm.
do. Sounds great. But like if it's going to be longer than that, if we're going to be like approaching an hour, then all of a sudden my system doesn't work anymore. Right.
Mm,
So I think the tricky thing with like using a die or like a random wheel or something is that like I'm fine with that span of time, like anywhere between 5 and 30 minutes. That's perfect for me in like my everyday life. Right.
uh-huh.
But you seem to be very specific about like anything shorter than like 30 minutes feels short, right? For a sprint for you. Whereas for me, I could do 5 minutes and we could call it a sprint and I could be happy, right? So, like, I guess you would just have to figure out a number that, like, a range or like a number you can multiply
Yeah,
by where
yeah.
it's not, you're not feeling like everything's either too short or too
Yeah, no,
long.
no, definitely. I mean, but we could throw a random in the mix, like, from like maybe 15 minutes to like 55 minutes or something like that, and just let the wheel decide. I think also
Yeah.
I'm less s- I'm less feeling that it's a short sprint, as now I'm sprinting and it's later for me, you know.
Mm,
So I think it would feel fine, Um I just yeah. And yeah, no, it is fun, of course.
it is
I'm
very fun.
happy.
I gamify it. I also sometimes, if I really need extra motivation, I'll give myself like allowance based on how many of them I do. So I'll be
Mm.
like, oh, I did 10 of them. I can buy myself coffee tomorrow. you
Aw,
know, it's very
that
good.
is cute.
It's good for me. It helps
Uh-huh.
me.
That's
Like
great.
it helps me do what I'm supposed to do in my life. I got my taxes done early for the first time in my adult life this year.
Ooh,
So go me.
I still have to
Success.
finish them, so
Oh
there.
no, your American taxes?
Yep, yep,
Okay, well, you got about a week.
yep, yep. I have to do them. So there you go.
Yep. Wait, will they? I guess my tax return just goes right into my bank account. So it would be fine for you if you were.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
you.
no,
Well,
it is.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Cool.
If I have them online, there's no issue with that stuff.
Yeah.
But
Cool,
I
cool.
have to do it,
Yeah. So
definitely.
how long would you like us to do? Do you want me to like roll a die and we can multiply by 10 and add 5 to it? That gets us to our lowest being 15 and our highest being 65.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Blue die. I got a 6.
It's
It's a 6.
65.
So it would be 65 minutes. We don't have to do it if you don't want to, but that's what
No,
the die says.
I'm okay. I'm okay. Let's
Are
we
you
I
sure?
said yeah, I said
You're a little
okay,
bit
let's do a
delirious.
die.
Oh, well, that's going to be literally the longest sprint that we've ever done.
I know.
But it'll
You
be fun.
you
If
might
anyone
have
needs like a water or snack break in the
yes.
middle, do yourself a service. Also, I am not sure that Michelle knows that we're sprinting right now, Clementine. I will be
Oh yeah.
honest. Maybe we
Mhm.
should text her. But okay, cool. 65 minutes. Good luck. Like actual good luck this time. Because I feel like
Yes.
this one's gonna be a challenge.
Well, we'll see if I stay if I get to sleep or not. It would be a first.
Hello, hello. Clementine, how's life over there?
It's okay. I'm a
Good.
little
How's the
tired,
book?
but I
Well,
managed
yeah,
to
I was looking
read.
at my clock and I'm like, we're hitting 1 o'clock in the morning for you. Is that right?
Yes, I think the 1 hour, 5 minutes sprint didn't help, but
Yeah,
it did
yeah.
help with the book. I reached
Good.
22%.
Woo! That's really far.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, I shouldn't be surprised because, you know, yeah. I hit 23% on I started a new book, so I'm not reading The Blood Mirror anymore. Ignore that.
Mm.
I started My Big Fat Fake Marriage, which is so fun. I'm having such a good time. It's just like a silly rom-com. The basic premise is you've got this like really just like innocent, sweet, like nerdy guy who like hates lying, but also is like very embarrassed about everything in life
Okay.
and accidentally tells his coworkers that he's married and then spends all of his evenings making these elaborate like deceptions about like where his wife is and why she's not with him and why she can't go places. And his neighbor, who it's all like in the literary world, so they're like
Mm.
publishers and editors and stuff.
Okay.
So his neighbor is like a friend of a friend, and she goes over to his apartment to like um I think they're like sharing dessert or something, um, and sees his plans and like freaks out and is like, "Oh my, like what is happening? Are you killing someone? Are you stalking someone? What is this?" And then he tells her, and it's not like planned, but she ends up being at a work function that he's also at, and there's this guy who's being a jerk, and she just blurts out in the moment, "Oh, like why wouldn't I be talking to him? I'm his wife." And then they decide to go with it. So it's very cute. It's very, very funny. I'm having a very good time. Highly recommend so far. But this is Charlotte Stein. I read her debut last year, which I
Mm.
thought was great up until like the last 10%. I did not like the end of that book at all. So I'm just
Oh,
like
I
crossing my fingers
see.
and hoping that this
Mm.
time the plane lands and I can enjoy the book. But
Okay.
I'm at 23%.
Mhm.
So pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. Yeah, I texted Michelle and I was like, "Hi, we're sprinting. I'm sorry that we didn't tell you." Tuesdays are the day now, and we're starting a little bit earlier, which Michelle might not always be available for. But
Yeah, true. True, true. It's mostly also because from next week, that'll be even 1 hour later for me. So,
yeah,
we need to start
I'm
this
not
later.
sure how long this will be like sustainable necessarily for you. But
We'll
we'll
see.
figure it
We'll
out.
see. I think it's okay if I'm not working, but if I start working, yeah, for sure, it
Yeah,
would be harder. But yeah.
absolutely.
Oh
Totally makes
no, her phone didn't alert today. Aw.
these things happen. That doesn't
I
surprise me. We're not a it's not like we have like a ton of followers or we're a big channel. So I would not be surprised if often people don't get alerts.
Yeah, but also it might be my fault because I actually did the sprint, like created it this morning for me, so it might have been during overnight.
Oh, it might have been like in the middle of the night or something.
Yes. Or
Yeah,
like
that makes
too
sense.
early in the morning or something.
Yeah.
So I should remind myself of that next time.
How are you feeling about middle game?
I'm feeling good so far. I'm intrigued about the whole thing. Um I I'm scared about the physics side. If it's like explained or if there's something about the science, then I would be like, yeah, no. But so far so good. So far so good. No, no. I'm uh I'm having
You
fun.
certainly
So,
might need
well,
to suspend your disbelief there some. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm okay with the quantum entanglement thing kind of thing. Right now, I think I'm mostly a little bit puzzled at this weird kind of even like fairy tale-esque kind of words that are thrown in there, like going to the improbable city. I don't think that's a spoiler or anything, because like it's from
You
the
don't know what
start,
that means if you haven't read it yet. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. From the improbable road, and it just, I don't know why, it just makes me think of the yellow brick road, or like very much like, coded that way,
It
right?
is
Wizard of
very
Oz.
fairy tale-ish kind of sprinkled in there.
But
I love like the confusion of it.
yeah, I think for me it really, I don't know why it makes me think of the Wizard of Oz. In some ways, maybe also
It
because
makes
in the
it
Wizard of
oh
Oz there are some characters that are created. There's like the road, the city to the quest, and also like the book that is interspersed in there is also following these two people who were on this road for the to go to the city, off to see the wizard kind of thing. A little bit, I don't know. It's not
yeah.
necessarily just Wizard of Oz, but it's just what my mind goes into. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're liking it a little bit. Do you
Mhm.
want us to plan to sprint again, or do you want that to have been our last sprint?
So I feel like we can do another sprint, but if it's 65 minutes, I'm not gonna last 65 minutes. Just as a heads up, right?
Well, do you just want to pick the time, or do you want me to roll for it?
Let's roll for it. We can't have another six, can we?
Okay.
Watch it being a five.
We could. Let's see. Here, I'll roll it inside of my embroidery so that I can hold it up. Oh, also, I'm embroidering flowers today.
Oh, that is cute.
We got two, which would be
Okay.
25 minutes, which is, I think,
That's
more doable.
yes, that is very manageable.
Okay. Alrighty. I have, and we didn't talk for very long. If anyone else got anything accomplished during that sprint, feel free to let us know.
Uh-huh.
I should change my name to be accurate to um, what I'm reading.
Yes, you should, especially since you're really liking it, so that people can check it
No.
out.
I'm like second guessing if I spelled the word marriage correctly, but I don't think I care enough.
You did. You're okay.
Okay, great. Love it. Awesome. Fabulous. Maria's almost done with work. It is just crazy to me that like
Yeah,
Maria is still at the end of her workday and you are in the middle of your night. The world is a crazy place.
I know. Ooh, Michelle watched Jeopardy, read 30 minutes and some chores. What
Nice.
book did you read?
What are you working on? I have been feeling very slumpy, but I kind of like I let myself work on the broken eye for a while,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just kind of let myself chip away at it. I was just like in the middle of like maybe six books. I'm still in the middle of like a bunch. Oh, Michelle, how are you liking it? So Michelle is reading this book called Libby Lost and Found. Um,
Mm-hmm.
one of our friends who's from book club, I'm not sure if you're very familiar with her, Clementine. Um, oh, is it Kennedy? For some reason her name just like isn't Kendall. It's Kendall. Okay, so Kendall
Oh,
was reading Libby Lost and Found and really
uh-huh.
liked it. And then I guess reached out to the author and she's like hosting an author event situation.
Ooh.
It's like a virtual
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
She invited us to, yes, Michelle, I got
Mm-hmm.
it. I want the record to show that I remembered before Michelle put it in the chat, but that's okay.
Uh-huh.
um, so she's like organizing this author event, but as far as I can tell, the book isn't like super popular. I signed up to go because I wanted to like be supportive. But I also like don't remember what day it's supposed to be, so I should probably like get on that. And then yeah, I haven't picked up the book yet, but if
Mhm.
Michelle thinks I would like it, maybe I'll pick it up.
Mhm. Mhm. You can always do like I did the last time I went to an author event. I actually read 20% of the book, so that way when I was with like 20 readers or so and the author, I could still talk about the
Maybe
book
like a
and
little
the
bit, yeah, yeah, yeah.
world about it and stuff. Well, also it was more of a historical fiction with a mystery in there. So we ended up talking a lot about her inspiration and the historical part about this,
That's cool.
um, which was in Europe, Italy. So they were talking a lot about religion and all those things. So yeah,
Did you end up finishing the book after the event?
nope. I
Fine.
no, no. I actually read 20%, but I DNF'd at 20% because I
Oh,
was like,
I see.
I don't care enough. I knew it was not really a book for me. I just went because there was this author event. It was just before I was leaving, Baltimore. And I was going with a friend and all those things, and she was very, excited about it, and she was very excited about the book. She hadn't been able to finish the book, but she was really happy with the book, right? So I was like, yeah, no, that's fine, to spend some time and everything. And the offer is was really, really nice, and it was really interesting to see how she crafted the book. 'Cause she was a gemologist, in work, and so she, in her historical fiction, it talks a lot about the gems and all those things. And I think the second book that she also just finished, that will be published, I think, next year, has also like a big kind of gem element too, because she knows about that part of history and everything. So she does talk about it. So it's kind of interesting to have that and to have an author who has a little bit of a different background and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's quick about a children's fantasy author who gets Alzheimer when finishing the last book, and world goes
Oh, like the
nuts
fantasy world
waiting for the
goes
book.
wild waiting for the book.
Better than it sounds.
Interesting-ish.
Oh,
Michelle,
it
okay,
makes
at least it's fast. Yeah.
yeah, it makes me think of this. There's mm,
I'm gonna say
I
the
don't.
wishing.
It's a very specific. Okay, if any of you have seen the Lucifer TV show, right?
Maybe the
Um,
first couple of seasons.
so it's not in the first couple of season, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But there's this one episode who essentially they are just checking on this like author of this YA dystopian series who died, and she was killed just before releasing like the draft of her final novel, right? And they're supposed to figure out
Does
what
he like
happened
go
and
to hell
everything.
to talk to her or something and find
No,
out what happened?
no, because
Okay.
he can't, at that point, he cannot actually go to hell anymore, right?
Okay.
So but he's like very concerned because he is stuck on something that he wants to do. So of course he makes it about himself, and he's like, I have to figure out how she got past her block, but her writer's block,
Mhm.
because she basically didn't put, she put up the novel a little bit like a few other series that we know, right? And have issues with because we don't know if they'll ever be finished. But like they apparently she got past her writer's block, but nobody knows why. And so he basically goes there, with the detective, but just to know how that happened, right? So it's kind of
That's kind
funny.
of funny.
So it makes me think of a little bit of something like that, a little bit in some ways. But
Atlas, you're
um
not settling. Every
wow.
time that I get him to like settle down, he's like, "No, I don't want to be there." And then I'll
Mm.
pick him up and he'll be like, "No, I don't want to be here." And then I set him over there and he's like, "No, I don't want to be here." He just can't get comfortable
Uh-huh.
today. You're okay, honey. You're fine. Alrighty. Well, we've got a 25-minute timer all
Mhm.
ready for us. Um, why don't we go ahead and do our 25 minutes? I actually my earbud ran out of battery there at the end, but I was embroidering, so I didn't want to stop. So I'm gonna have to disappear to go get some headphones.
That's
um,
fair.
but I'll see you guys very soon. Good luck with the start of the sprint.
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing?
Hello, hello. So, how's the book?
I reached 27% of my book, and of course, I ended on like a big kind of cliffhanger where Dodger is like ready to do something. You
I will
know,
say
and
there
then
are a
I get
lot of cliffhangers in that book, if I'm
yeah,
remembering
no, I'm
correctly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I read it 5 years ago, Clementine. I read it in
Wow.
2020 when it came out, five
Okay.
years ago. So
Okay.
I don't remember everything, of course. Here's my flower progress.
Mhm.
Um, we're
Mm.
getting there.
Well, I mean, it's not
Uh,
really. Maybe it's not really cliffhanger. Sorry, I'm just processing what I just read
no,
because
it's
I'm
okay.
tired. And I think it's better that I'm stopping now and reading it when I'm actually awake because, yep.
That certainly sounds true for sure.
How about you?
Absolutely.
You were showing us
I'm
your
good.
embroidery progress, which is
Oh
good.
yeah, embroidery's going well. We love the progress. I love a good slow craft where it like takes you a while to do something, you know. Um, I got to 32% of my book. Woo. It is still as like cute as it was before. I kid you not, if everyone like scrolls back on the timeline, I think I laughed out loud at least twice in that 20 minutes where I just
Very
like
nice.
kind of looked up from my embroidery and laughed.
Mm.
It's really good. It's really good so far. It's very cute. I think it's lovely. It's very silly. It's very silly, but it's very cute. So
That's very nice.
I needed something a little bit less intense, and it was perfect for that.
Mm. Hmm. That makes sense. I think I'll have to figure out um, in like further sprints, like in the weeks to come, to maybe choose also like easier books to read. Because like middle game is certainly like very intense and like emotions and stuff. So
To
like
be fair, that one came out of the
yes, no,
stars.
no,
Let me
and
look and see if I had that categorized as an easy book or a hard book, because I do not remember.
mhm.
Um, do you remember which ones you've pulled so far?
Yes, I can I pulled Babel Cherry 84
Mm-hmm.
Charing Cross Road,
Mm-hmm.
The House of Always, but The House of Always, right? I read the Discord of Gods for that. Damn it, there was
Yeah.
another one. If you let me, I can take my
Elantris
yes, Elantris. That's the one.
and Empire of Sand, right?
In Empire Sand, yes, because there was five. No, it was 5 books. Yes.
Yeah. So what I can tell you is that all five of the books you have picked have been hard books in my categorization. And so what that means is there is only one more hard book in the jar. The rest of them should be easy books. I honestly do not understand how you have picked all five challenging books. Like I feel like the luck was not on your side there. Like
Oh
probabilities,
hey,
you really should
go
have picked at least one
me,
easy book so far. Yeah, getting
go
the
me
hard ones
for
out of the way.
yeah.
Oh, I guess 84 Charing Cross Road was easy, but
Yeah, no, it was.
the
Mm,
rest of them were
hmm.
hard.
Yeah,
Oh, I forgot to get rid of the timer. it kept going. That's why it meowed at us again.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like this is the sixth book, so I'm like, if I'm finishing this one, I'm halfway through, which is really good progress. I agree. But I think Angela is also close to that too. You finish work and you're ready to go up and read. Oh, I'm so sorry that I'm just not gonna be able to do another sprint because I would
Oh, no, no, no,
definitely
no. I
just.
expected that this one would be our last one for sure. And it's nice that I still have a little bit of time before I go to bed to like do
Hmm.
things and be a human. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's out of 12, right? Yes, Maria, it was out of 12. Yep.
Yes, out of 12. Because the initial plan was to do one a month, but also one, we have no chill, and two, also, I'm personally bad at yearly challenges, so I'm happy to try and do it like,
This is great.
in a timely order as soon as, we have the sprints and we have finished one, and we're like, yeah, that's the time.
Let's do another one. Yeah, no, I think it's great. I still need to actually get myself to read Weird Sisters. So I'm I still have one of Clementine's that I like really need to get to. But I've done I think five so far.
Hmm.
I think Black Prism was five, but I could be it might be that I had pulled the fifth one.
To
Let
be
me look.
fair, I think your list is probably harder than mine. Because like of the physical books that you have on your TBR,
Oh, I've
they're
only done
scarier
four.
than mine probably. But hmm
Yeah. So I did Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Black Powder War, Death on the Nile, and the Black Prism so far.
yep.
And then the next one is Weird Sister, which really shouldn't be hard, but I'm just like having a hard time pulling myself around to it. I also think that like in
Hmm.
the back of my mind, I still have like finishing the Black Prism series as like something that I'm doing for
Hmm.
this, even though it's not technically for this.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah. I
you're
promise I'll get
totally
to it.
fine if you want to finish a Black Prism and it's something that you want to accomplish too. We can do that with the sprints, and as soon as you're done, then we can, move on to the next one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It has been kind of it's been pushing me along, which has been great.
Hmm.
It's been really, really good. Yeah. Yeah. And I did the other day, I was cleaning my room and I accidentally knocked my little bowl off of my shelf and the stars scattered. And then I got really worried because I was like, oh no. So then
Yeah.
I looked for all of them and I counted them and I do have seven. So I don't think I lost any
Hmm.
because I have four that I finished and then the Weird Sisters and then
Yep. Hmm.
um, seven more.
But also, I would have the list, so I think it would be sadder, but I could do like a wheel for you and just spin for you, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
it ever
it
happens.
would certainly be sadder. What I am thinking, like as a way to extend this, once I finish my 12, and you do not have to feel like you need to do anything similar to this, like totally up to you. But I have a list of backlist authors that I want to continue to read their things from.
Mm.
And this is my
Mm-hmm.
list of backlist authors that I want to keep returning to, which is a pretty long list. And I do an only okay job of actually hitting this list. So what I would love
Uh,
to do is send you this list, and then so
mm,
like after I finish my
mm-hmm.
12, I think just like picking some authors so that I still have some choice as to like what
Mm-hmm.
I'm hitting
Mm-hmm.
from their backlist. I guess there are a couple of them that I only have like one book left to read from them.
Ooh.
But yeah.
Yeah. I think for me it would, if we do this, it would probably be another list, but maybe like my series lists, the ones that I have incomplete and want to make some progress on, because
Oh yeah.
I have been doing an okay job with those, right? But they're still like series I haven't made progress or like that are incomplete for no good reason, right? I have one book left. I know it's like the next book is not going to be for another few years probably or whatever, but it's still not a reason not to read the book. That is still there, right? Um
Yeah, the problem with my series TBR is if it's an easy series to read, I've already read it. Like I've already
mhm.
read all of them. So all I would say almost all of the series on my series TBR that I've like left
Sure.
incomplete for a long time are like intense series, like the Black Prism series, right?
Yeah.
Um, rather than like the
Yeah.
easy breezy ones. I guess there are a couple of easy breezy ones that I've knocked out. I did so reading, like finishing series was one of my goals for this year, and
Mm-hmm.
I've finished out four so far. So I'm at
Mm.
four, which is pretty good. Um, I kind of hate, like, as far as I feel very accomplished that I'm working on Lightbringer, but the fact that like it's been a full month since I've officially like finished the series is like kind of
Mm.
bothering me, even though the Lightbringer books are so big and intense that like it's okay that it's taking me longer. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's check. I finished one, two, if you count Taste of Golden Iron, because like I did read the novella.
Yeah.
Three, four. Hmm. Yeah, I think I've also finished like four series, but I've also made progress on like, like caught up on a couple other series. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
I
I've
was
made
pretty good this year, but also I started way too many series already this year. I feel like.
I feel like I've also added to my series list.
Mhm.
I
I
should
think
be
in
more.
terms of statistics, I'm still okay. And I think in terms of incomplete series, I only have 32 series that, I need to make progress on that haven't, for no good reason. So I think it's still okay, but I don't want the number to grow overly big. So I,
I have so when I last checked my stats, which was at the end of February, I have 62 series that I'm caught up on up to the
uh-huh.
current book that I'm still planning to continue
Okay.
reading, and 68 series that I have not finished. 68 incomplete,
Wow. Yeah,
which is a lot.
I think I have
It
half
would take
of
me a
your
total of
numbers.
251 books to completely
Yeah.
catch up on all of the series that
Yeah,
I'm in.
that's a lot. That's a lot. I have 37 series that I've caught up, 33 that I finished, and 32 that are incomplete. And then I have 55 series that I DNF'd. I count the DNF too for like the series that I at least have read like one book from and DNF'd, the series. But like yeah, I also put the number if I had to read all the books on the series, it's 88 books so
See,
far.
that's not bad. 88 feels more doable than
Yeah, but
251.
I do have to make an effort because like if you're counting because I have manga series, right? So they're at least gonna have 1 to 2 releases this year, and I have like at least four of those. Then you have at least like four other series that might also have another book that are caught up right now, but
Yeah,
they
I mean,
are.
I've got
So I have to.
62 that I'm trying to keep up with as they come
Yeah,
out,
exactly.
which is
That's it. So
crazy.
I don't want to like intent and so I'm trying to be intentional in the series that I actually start or things like that. The only problem is sometimes I don't know if it's a series if I pick it up, right? I just want
Yeah.
to acknowledge Maria's progress. She also completed 4 series and caught up on
Hey,
3, so
good
that's
job,
great.
Maria. A plus.
Yes.
So this is completely unrelated. I just like did finger guns. And I I have this problem where I'll be in class and I'll like do finger guns in a funny way to the kids. And then later they'll like do finger guns in not a funny way, to be like, like actually pretending that they have a gun and like pretending to shoot something, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I have to be like, no, 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 we do not do guns in class. And even though I know that I feel a little bit hypocritical, I need to cut the finger guns out. I need
Mm,
to no more funny finger guns in the library is needs to be the rule, but it's really hard. It's
mm.
hard to take out a mannerism.
Yeah,
And we're
no, it
working on
is.
it.
It
We're
is.
all growing.
It is.
And on that note, Thanks for a great night of sprints, my friends. It's been
Yes.
lovely. Hopefully we will get to do this again next week. But next week,
Next week is
you'll be
totally
seeing
fine.
me. You will be seeing me after the first day of the book fair.
Oh,
So
yes.
I will be real, like super, really dead
Mm-hmm.
next Tuesday. So hopefully I'll still be up for it. But fair warning that my brain might not be totally here.
Yeah. And I should be totally fine. Also, my dad won't be there next week, so I will be able to even shout if I wanted to, I guess.
Nice.
I won't. I
All
won't.
right.
Good night,
Okay.
everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.